Hello everyone and welcome to a very special British Esports Association stream. As part of our Women in Esports initiative, we wanted to highlight some amazing women in all facets of the current esports space, and to tie into our latest partnership with Hitmarker, which is basically the home of esports jobs. So definitely go check them out if you are looking to get a career in esports or just looking for a next step to further yourself. Some of you might have even noticed that we've also revamped our website, the career selection of our website specifically. So you also might want to go check that out as well after the stream if you want to get some great advice on a multitude of esports careers. But anyway, for now, it's time for me to bring you in our guest for today, and why I'm also here this lovely Thursday or Wednesday. It's Wednesday today, Wednesday evening, afternoon. This week, I'm having a chat with the lovely and the talented tournament admin Veracity, who's worked on everything from Epic LAN to Face It CSGO Major and also Insomnia here in the UK. Hi, Jasmine, how's it going?
Hey, I'm doing good, thanks. How about you?
Not too bad. I just want everyone to know that it's actually Dom who's producing today, as Elliot is on holiday, but Dom does have a bit of an emergency at home with one of his kids, so I'm sure he'd want me to tell you to forgive him if you don't see him in the chat, but hopefully he'll be back a bit later to interact with everyone. But yeah, I've got Jasmine here with me now. Yeah, just to kick everything off, I wanted to ask you, for people who might not be familiar with you and what you do in esports, if you could just introduce yourself and tell us a bit about what it is that you do.
So hi everyone. My name is Jasmine. I'm also known as Veracity. So I am a tournament manager for Insomnia and a freelance tournament admin for companies like DreamHack. I've done Epic LAN, I did ESL, loads of companies like that. Ever since then, I did adminning for a very, very long time, a few years. But then I kind of decided I wanted to do something different. So now I also do stage hosting and interviewing, as well as streaming. And yeah, hi.
Well, hopefully it won't be too weird for you to be the one that's being interviewed for once. I've actually yet to have that outside of a panel setting, so I'm kind of looking forward to what that would be like to sort of be on the other side of everything.
I'd be happy to interview you afterwards.
Yeah, we'll do like a switcheroo next week. But yeah, in terms of what you did, I guess today we're sort of focusing on the admin side because it's definitely something that I'm not overly familiar with in esports, and I think a lot of people also aren't too familiar with. Before we sort of dive into it, is everything that you do on in terms of tournament admin, is it a UK based, or do you sort of branch out into more international events as well?
So I started off doing my events here in the UK. I volunteered for, I think it was about a year. I was volunteering to do Insomnia events, and then it was like Epic LAN, and then my work kind of got noticed by other companies. And I remember I once put a tweet out asking people I want to expand my horizons and admin some bigger events and stuff like that. And then people on Twitter started tagging this one guy that works for DreamHack. So many people were tagging him. And then he DM'd me and he was just like, I've heard you want to admin some events. How would you feel about doing DreamHack? So I was like freaking out at that time. I was like, oh my God, yes, I would love to. Then I did DreamHack events. I've been to Montreal. I've been to Sweden a number of times. Get to travel as well as part of it, which is pretty snazzy.
I think that's what everyone says their sort of favorite part about esports is, from players to talent and just all aspects of esports, everybody loves the traveling. You sort of mentioned a little bit just now about how you got into it. Would you be able to give me a bit of a deeper story on why, I guess, you got into esports and admin specifically, and how your journey sort of evolved from, I guess, wanting to do what you do and what you do now?
Yeah. So I was a huge esports fan. This is no secret to anybody that's known me for ages. I would travel to go watch esports events. I would be watching the esports streams and tournaments online. I had my esports idols, just like all the other viewers do.
Who was your esports idol? I want to know.
My biggest esports idol was Pronax.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Do you know what? Everyone always says I'm the Pronax of Valorant because I have like a mega brains, but I don't have the aim. I don't want to flame your idol. I really don't want to flame your idol, but everyone says that about me. But yeah, sorry, Pronax. Also, yeah, carry on.
So yeah, and then I remember the one event that I got to meet my idol I was working at.
Oh,
So
wow.
that was pretty surreal.
Yeah. What was that like? What did you talk about?
Just like CS in general and stuff. Like, it's not, I feel like fans a lot of the time, like, and I know this because I've spoken to countless fans, and then also I was one as well. You obviously look up to all of these people as your idols and stuff like that, and you think, oh my god, this person is like so amazing. You like idolize them, right? But then it's not until you speak to them you just realize, you know, they're just another person, like just like me. They're just like a normal person. So I think a lot of the time when people think that, oh, if I was to ever speak to my idol, they would never want to speak to me, or like, you know, there's no point of me trying to speak to them or anything like that. That's not the case at all. They're just another person, and like without you guys as their fans and stuff, they wouldn't be in the situation that they're in right now. So I think it's quite reassuring to, you know, for people to know and remember that just like you, like they had an ambition, they had a goal, and they did everything they could to make that a reality. So, you know, remember that, you know, it's just another person. So treat them like another person.
Okay, sorry, we kind of took a detour.
Yeah, we did.
But that is a great point. I completely agree. Yes, so you're a big esports fan and you went to loads of tournaments.
Yeah, so I watched a lot of esports. I obviously played a lot of CS and stuff myself. And my older brother, he went to a LAN event when I was quite young, and he came back. He went to an Insomnia. He came back home and he had like a crate of Jolt the energy drink. If you guys are in the chat and you know what Jolt energy drink is, you will understand why this is so important. So this drink was like shaped like a battery, right? And like as soon as you open the top of this drink, it makes the loudest sound, and then like smoke comes out. And oh my god, this drink was phenomenal. Okay. It's
not sponsored
now.
By the way. Not sponsored.
Definitely not sponsored. They're illegal now in the UK. So I'm super bummed about it because the drink was amazing. But yeah, so like my brother came back from an Insomnia. He did BYOC with some of his friends, and he was telling me about how great it was, what it was like. You know, everybody's just vibing, playing video games together. And I just thought, oh my god, this sounds like so much fun. One day I want to go to a LAN event and I want to play with my friends. But then, yeah, I kind of, the more esports I was watching, the more I was like, what actually makes esports what it is? What actually makes it, you know, what goes into all of this? Like, you know, we'll watch a match that's maybe like an hour long, but you don't see all of the preparation that goes on behind the scenes. And, you know, the players are there from like days before, the venue has to get set up, the SSDs, the config, everything. Like, these are all the things that we didn't see as viewers. So I kind of started getting more interested in like what actually goes into it to make it what it is. So I went to Insomnia. I scouted out the place with some of my friends. We didn't go as BYOC. We just went to kind of spectate. And I loved it. I was like, oh my god, everybody here is so cool. Everyone is so nice. And I saw a banner that was up there saying like, if you enjoyed Insomnia, like, you know, contact us and you can come and work as volunteer. And I was like, yeah, sure, why not? Like, in the past, I had played games like Crossfire, and I was like hosting small like Crossfire tournaments, like for us, like amongst friends and stuff like that. So I was like, yeah, why not? I guess I have some experience doing it. And I wanted to learn more about what goes on behind the scenes. So I went ahead and applied. I had an option of like, they ask you what games you would prefer to be put on. And I put CSGO or League of Legends.
Yeah.
And when I heard back from them, it's like, well done, congratulations, you know, you've been selected as a volunteer for Insomnia. And I was put on Rocket League. I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing here, but I was like, yes, sure, I'll do it. And then, yeah, I went to my first Insomnia and I met a bunch of cool people, one of which was John Kelly. And I didn't know at the time that he was the tournament manager for CSGO at Insomnia. And I was like, does anybody here play CSGO? And he was like, yeah, I'll play. And then we were like playing against each other. It wasn't until a few hours later he was like, so next Insomnia, do you want to come and work on CSGO with me? I'm like, wait, what? Oh, wait, you're the CSGO guy. And he's like, yeah, that's me. I'm like, yes, I would love to. So then, yeah, I kept on volunteering Insomnia events. I did Epic LAN events. I did ESL events. And yeah, I guess people like, the thing is like you get ESL people coming to Epic LAN and stuff like that. So people that worked for ESL would see the work that I had done, and people like from Epic LAN, obviously John was recommending me and stuff like that. So yeah, it was all from volunteering, which is pretty cool.
I do think a lot of people do start a similar way in terms of like it does snowball. Like once you start getting to know people and once you start sort of in your mind know what you want to do and what more you want to do, it kind of becomes slightly easier. But in terms of tournament admin itself, what exactly does an admin do, and what are your responsibilities, I guess, on a day-to-day basis when you're at a tournament or at an event?
So it depends on the tournament organizer that I'm working for. So for Insomnia events, for example, it's like the scheduling, the seeding, handing out servers. I would say the most difficult part of it is probably making sure everyone sticks to schedule, because obviously as soon as one team finishes like their matches, I never thought it would be so difficult to keep track of grown human beings, by the way. like they'll finish their match and then there's like a schedule and they'll be told that, you know, your next match is in like 10 minutes, and they're like, yeah, okay, cool, we're just gonna go out for a cigarette, and then they leave and they go to Nando's and they disappear for like an hour, and then suddenly like everything is pushed back like an hour because teams haven't shown up and stuff like that. So yeah, I would say server management, handing out IPs, making sure people are on time, I would say is the biggest one. But in terms of scheduling, it's factoring in the delays that could happen. That goes everything from tech delays to like just people not showing up, people being late and stuff like that. And then of course meeting a stage final on time, which is always a big panic rush. But yeah. Sorry.
No, it's all right. How many admins would there be on a typical day at somewhere like Insomnia or Epic LAN?
So Insomnia, I think the most number of admins I ever had was 1, 2, I think it was 4.
Oh my goodness.
I think it was 4. But when it was John Kelly and me, it was 2 of us, maybe 3 at a push. But then like you go to events like DreamHack and stuff like that, and suddenly the responsibilities are like completely different. So there was no like scheduling that needed to be done. Like the higher ups in DreamHack and stuff would do all of that themselves. It was more techie, and luckily for me, I love PCs. I'm a techie person myself. So luckily for me, I felt quite comfortable with all of that. But it was more like when the venue is being set up and stuff like that, it's setting up the PCs, the monitors, all of that stuff, making sure you do the network cabling properly, make sure all of the stuff running to the switch are plugged into the right places, make sure things work, dissecting PCs sometimes, you know, setting up all the SSDs for the players and stuff like that. But then also when it comes to the tournament itself, when the players are on stage and stuff, obviously people could see us in the booths, which I learned the hard way. I was so overwhelmed when I got up on stage and I saw like all these people in a crowd staring at me. I'm like, oh boy. But yeah, you stand like behind the players, obviously make sure that there's no cheating or anything going on, but most importantly, like if there is a tech issue, you have to be very quick to fix it, because obviously the cameras are rolling, people are paused in game and stuff like that. So for bigger events like DreamHack and stuff like that, it was more like setting up PC hardware, being very familiar with like cabling and like switches, networking, all stuff like that. So it wasn't so much scheduling a tournament as it was like making it run.
One of the tournaments I'm super interested to talk to you about is obviously the Face It CSGO major, which I attended sort of half, like working. I think I worked I did some reporting on the final day, but before that, I was just sort of there as a fan. It was such a good event. So, what was it like for you to work that event? Is that similar to the DreamHack one, would you say? And also, do you have any interesting stories, I guess, from the Face It Major that you'd like to share?
The Face It Major was a dream come true. So I'm like the sort of person where like I love to set myself goals. So like anybody that watches my Twitch streams will know this. Like every time I set myself goals, like I want to hit 1,300 followers. Every time that's done, I like mark down the date and I have like a big list on my Twitch page now for every milestone I've reached. So like it was the exact same for me when it came to adminning. So at first it was do the insomnias, the epic lands, and then it was like, okay, well, I want to do a paid event, like work at an event that I'm paid for, and then I did that, and then it was like, okay, I want to do an international event, and then I did that, and then it was like, okay, well, I've done the dream hacks and stuff like that. What do I want to do now? And then I was like, I want to admin a major, because I had gone to a major myself like previously, and I was just like, I loved it, and I was just like, I want to admin the major, like the biggest event. Like there's no other big event like quite like it. So I was like, that's my goal. And there was a tweet that I put up, I think it was in 2018. No, maybe even sooner. I'm going to check right now when it was, because it's my pinned tweet on Twitter. Okay, yeah, it was in 2017. I posted that tweet, and it was like, I'm not going to give up before I admin a major. And 1 year later, exactly a year later, I got the opportunity to do that. So I was just like, seeing that progress, I was buzzing. I was like, finally, yes. So yeah, it was freaking amazing to admin the Face It Major. I mean, for me, it was literally a dream come true. But then at that point, like the interesting thing is like, you would think that meeting the players, you're like, oh my God, it's so and so at the Face It Major. But at that point, it's like you've admin so many events for so many different companies that the players are just like, oh, hey, you're admin in this event as well. And it's like, yep, hi. now please get on the server. So, yeah, for me, the Face It Major was unreal. I would say my most memorable moment of the Face It, there are two very memorable, no, okay, three. The whole event was amazing, basically. But so my birthday was during the Face It Major, and when the Astralis guys found out that it was my birthday, they started singing "Happy Birthday" to me in Danish, and I'm just like there, like,
oh my god,
this is so cool.
Who was the best singer? I feel like, I don't know, I've never heard any of them sing, but I just can't imagine Glaive being a good singer. I'm sorry.
Device gave it a solid go.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Yeah. I can see that.
I'm pretty sure I have a video of it somewhere, but I don't know where that is. And then I also did, during that event, I did an interview with BBC for BBC Newsbeat about esports and the Face It Major. So that was pretty cool as well. But I would say the favorite moment is probably being in the booth behind Astralis when they won the Face It Major. That was like, you could like, the thing is like, people don't get, I struggle to watch tournaments online now because after experiencing literally the best seat in the house, like you hear the players' comms, you hear like how they're feeling, what they're thinking, you know, them freaking out, them shouting at each other, you know, I mean, you feel and experience all of this. So to watch tournaments online now is like, it's not going to be as good, you know. I don't know what the players are thinking and saying and feeling. So yeah, I think being in the booth with them at that moment and like seeing how emotional they got and how much it meant to them, I would say that's up there with like the best moment of the Face It Major. Yeah.
This must be a really weird year to be a tournament admin, I guess, with everything being online and like, I guess not getting to experience all the things you're describing at an event. Have you been doing any sort of tournament admins this year, I guess, given sort of the global pandemic situation?
No, we've not actually had. So we have our usual Insomnia events, but sadly that got cancelled. Obviously, they transformed the Insomnia venue to Nightingale Hospital. So that was a huge shock to us. And I feel like everybody that saw that was just like, for me at least, I feel like, whoa, I'm so used to seeing that venue filled with like happy memories and everybody's finally seeing their mates again after so long, playing games. And I don't know, to see it transformed in such a way was a big shock. But No, I've not actually done much adminning because of the coronavirus and stuff. But thankfully, Epic Land went ahead. But we transformed it into Epic WAN. So big shout out to the Epic WAN people for making that happen. So yeah, we just ran the tournaments online and stuff. But instead of adminning that event, I was actually hosting and interviewing it. So that, I feel like Epic Land gave me a real opportunity to kind of step away from being known as like the branding of like the admin to like, you know, experience other avenues within esports. Because now that I've done the Face It major, I was just like, I want to try something different. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to be stuck in the same role doing the same thing. As much as I love adminning and like, you know, I'll still admin events on the odd occasion, but I don't feel like I should just limit myself to one thing. So yeah,
completely. Well, I guess that kind of makes it feel like that going into it as an admin does open more doors for you in other assets and opportunities. Would you say that's fair? Like if you want to get involved in esports and perhaps you don't have the necessarily the contacts or opportunities to getting other ways, maybe being an admin to start with is sort of a good way to go about it, especially if you're not quite sure what you want to do.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree with that. Like, so I did games design and development at university, so I kind of already had like my lecturers and stuff like that. They didn't really get the whole esports thing as much as I thought that they would. But luckily my lecturers were very nice, and when I explained to them, oh, I work in esports, I'm volunteering and doing this and that, and they're like, okay, we can kind of pass it off as, you know, studying because it's games related. So I got to go to events and stuff like that. But like so yeah, when I started volunteering in esports and working within the industry, I met a lot of people. Like, I made so many new friends. Like a lot of those friends, I will say to this day, are like, they're going to be lifelong friends. I know that for a fact. And like so I was given opportunities to like do social media management. So I started off doing social media management at UFrag. And then I did social media management for Endpoint, and now I'm doing social media management for Prodigy Agency. So like for me, it's just been like growth to growth to growth. So like, just because you volunteer as an admin does not mean that you're going to be stuck as an admin for the rest of your esports career. Do you know what I mean? Like there's more to esports than just working in the industry. A lot of it is socializing, making friends, you know, connecting with people, because at the end of the day, everyone has that common interest and that common love of playing games. So yeah, so for me especially, like I got to do adminning, hosting, interviewing, social media management. So yeah, don't go into esports thinking, oh no, what if I don't like it, I'll be stuck in one role, because you know there's so many opportunities within esports available to you. You just have to put in the effort to want to do it.
Yeah, well said. I completely agree with that. And as this is a women in esports stream, in the past, you know, we like to discuss some more, I guess, serious issues and issues I think do pertain to some of the viewers who are watching this. I guess from your perspective and from your experience, how many women have you seen sort of do things in similar to you? I guess how many tournament admins tend to come out as women or in comparison to men?
There's definitely not enough. There's like I think I've maybe come across 1, 2, maybe 4 other females that are admins.
Out of all of the events you worked
Out
at?
of all of the events
Oh
that
my
I've
goodness.
worked at, yeah.
Okay, yeah, there's definitely not enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really crazy. Why do you think that is?
I'm not sure. I feel like it could, I'm not going to say this for a fact because I'm not sure, but it could be that, you know, a lot of girls might think, oh, even if I did want to get into adminning, like, what, I'm going to be surrounded by guys, or like, what if I don't get it and stuff like that? Because I know I was like, when I was at school and stuff like that, people that were supposed to be my friends told me that, you know, oh, to want to work in the games industry, like that's not going to happen because, you know, you're a girl, and if someone is looking to hire someone, they're not going to hire a girl over a guy who's going to know a lot more about tech, a lot more about PCs, a lot more about games and stuff like that. So I made it my personal goal, of course, to prove them wrong. So so yeah, I feel like maybe that is one of the reasons why maybe girls feel like, you know, it's such a male dominated industry, like there's no guarantee that I would be selected, or you know, I'm not entirely sure what the reason is, but whatever that reason is, it can be conquered. Like, you're not limited by what anybody else thinks of you. You are able to achieve whatever you want. So I would love for more women in esports and in gaming, especially more female like admins and stuff. I'm always telling my friends on Discord, I'm like, I want more friends, and they're like, what, we're not good enough for you? I'm like, no, I want more friends that are girls. You don't understand.
Yeah, no, I'm completely with you there. Like, I don't know if I could say this, but it's my opinion. So, and yeah, I'm sure some people do agree with me, but there is a massive difference between like, you know, finding another person who I guess not just like share similar interests with you, but like understand you better. And no disrespect to any of my male friends in the space, I love you all, but like sometimes it's really difficult to communicate with people who doesn't really understand like where you're coming from, because they haven't experienced some of the things you've experienced, or they sort of don't go through the same struggles as you.
Yeah.
So I'm like you as well at events, when I'm sort of like doing any journalism events, or at the major or at Worlds, League of Legends, whenever I see like another female reporter, I'm like, oh my gosh, hi, like let's be friends.
How do you do that? How do you do that though? I always get scared. So like I remember there was one event that I was working at. Which event was it? I don't remember which event it was, but there was one event where there was another female admin, and I was like freaking out. I'm like messaging my friends. I'm like, oh my God, guys, there's another girl here. Do you think we could be best friends? Do you think she'll like me? Do you think she'll not like me? And I was too nervous to message her because I was so used to like loads of girls being like really bitchy and stuff like that. So I was like, what if I message her and she completely hates me? What if I message her and she's just like, why are you talking to me? I've never met you before. I don't know you. And it wasn't until like she needed something, and then I messaged her and I was like, hey, I have one in my bag if you want it. And then I eventually spoke to her before we were working the event, and yeah, I was like to her, I'll be honest with you, you're so lovely. And like, don't get me wrong, I did not have any opinion of you before I met you. But like, this just confirms to me that you're absolutely lovely. I didn't message you sooner because I was so scared that, you know, you would hate me. And she was like, dude, no way. That was why I didn't message you, because I thought that you might not like me. I'm like, oh. And then like ever since then we've been like really close friends. So
that's super cute. That's like a movie. Like honestly, that actually feels like a movie plot. But yeah, no, I completely think you're right. There is sometimes, I mean, for me, I have no shame. Like, I think that's why I'm able to do some of the jobs I do as well. Because like at press conferences, I'm always at the first person to ask a question when everyone else is sort of like waiting for someone to ask questions. Because honestly, I just have no shame. I'm like, I'm here and these people might not ever see me again. So like, there's no point sort of like being overly caring about what other people think, which always, by the way, has bitten me in the ass at some point. So I don't recommend having that attitude. But yeah, just going on in terms of, you know, being a woman in the scene who's done admin and who's done hosting and interviewing, and now I know that you're also doing a lot of streaming as well. What would you say has been your biggest challenge, I guess, as a woman in this space?
I don't want to get in trouble for saying this. I'm not going to get in trouble for saying this. I'm not going to mention what tournament it was or anything like that. But
okay.
So I was adminning an event, and there was a tech issue that was going on, and it was like a big tech issue. And you know, obviously I'm getting frustrated because like everything that we're trying isn't working. The players are getting frustrated, understandably, because they're sat there waiting around and stuff. And as I'm trying to like fix the problem and stuff, the player's like, can't you just go and get an admin? I just turned around and looked at them and I'm like, I am the admin. And honestly, it was so awkward. And I can't help but feel like people will have this opinion, like people started like when they saw me on stage and stuff, you know, obviously you have some weird people on like HLTV and stuff like that. So I had like people like taking clips and like screenshots of like my face and stuff on stage, and people trying to figure out who I am, like where I am and stuff like that, which eventually happened. People worked it all out. So that was pretty weird. But then like seeing people say stuff like, oh, she's like a mental coach and stuff like that. I'm like, why do people think that, you know, females aren't capable of doing these like techie jobs and actually, you know, making tournaments run the way that they do and stuff like that? So I'd say that's probably been my biggest struggle, is having people think oh, just because you're a girl, you know, you don't really know about computers, or you don't know as much as you should if you're an admin and stuff like that. Yeah, I'd say that's probably the most difficult thing, is having other people judge your ability based on your gender, not based off of what they know you can do, what you have done, and stuff like that. So
yeah, I think at this point it's almost a meme, the whole like, oh, you're a woman, what do you do? Oh, I play, I don't know, League of Legends. What rank are you? I don't know, like gold or plat or diamond, whatever. And they'll be like, oh, but do you know this? I don't know why I have to go through an interview process just to be like, I like games. I think maybe that sort of happens to you as well. Like you have to prove that you're an admin. Like a man in your position wouldn't have to really prove anything. They'll just take their word for it. They'll be like, oh, what do you do? I'm adminning Epic Land. Oh, that's really cool. And then I feel like perhaps you get judged, or people are less inclined to think that you have the ability to do your job, which you've done amazingly. I mean, you've been to a major, so so I have no idea why people act that way, but I definitely think that's a theme that runs through like all aspects of for women in esports. I did have a few more questions, but chat is kind of popping. And there's quite a few questions in there, so I think I'll move on to their questions for now, and if we have any more times I'll circle back to just a couple more I had. Our first question is from someone called It's Tate. They said, did you find it difficult turning volunteering into a career, or was the transition smooth?
I mean, when I was volunteering whilst I was at university. So for me, it was like, I was literally at the point where I was not going to lectures and not having the uni experience that everyone does, just so that I could volunteer events and get that experience. And I feel like for me, it was pretty smooth. It took a while. So I was volunteering multiple events for about a year. But then, you know, when people see your dedication and your passion for what you do, I feel like it's from there. Like I said, you'll always get people from other tournament organizers attending events that you'll be running and volunteering at. So people will notice you. They will notice the work that you do. I would say one thing that I wish I had kind of done more, even now I wish I would do more, is to network more with people. So it's like a gradual, smooth thing that kind of happens, and then you're like, whoa, when did that happen? But like, the more you network and stuff, I would say it was quite a smooth transition. I would get like the odd like freelancing gig like here and there, and yeah, it was a pretty smooth transition. But yeah, I did prepare myself to just like volunteer because I enjoyed doing it. So yeah.
Brilliant. Well, the next question is from someone called Oddcore. They said, what makes you the most excited for the future of esports in the UK or globally? I guess they mean like, what's something that makes you excited for esports in the UK or globally?
Okay, I'm very, very excited to see how VR can work its way into esports. That, I don't know, just that thought, like even if you say games like CSGO or like another FPS, like I've seen rigs where it's literally like a treadmill underneath someone, and like in order to run in the game, they're like running on the treadmill and stuff like that. I feel like maybe VR has a very, very big possibility of working its way into esports, and I'm so excited to see where that goes. Whether or not it's going to be anytime soon, I'm not sure. But imagine having a major for like a VR game. Like just the thought of that just makes me so excited, because I'm like, dude, you get to see people like literally running around and stuff, and and then people can't say anymore that, oh, all you do is just play video games. Like, yes, but it's exercise too.
Yeah, I feel like that could really give some players a massive advantage. Let's say like in CSGO, but instead of like everyone having the same moving speed, like you get to control how fast you are. So like I feel like some players might lose out a little bit with that, but some players might just be like insanely fast. Okay, the next question is again from It's Tate. They said, what would be your top tips for someone looking to get into this industry, and would you recommend the volunteering route you took?
I would 100% recommend the volunteering route I took. Like, even now, I want to do more like hosting and adminning, and I've gone down the exact same route. I've started volunteering for events to do the hosting and interviewing and stuff like that. So I would definitely recommend the volunteering stage, because you got to remember from like a tournament organizer's perspective, like they need to know and see firsthand the kind of person that you are, because it's no good going up to them and being like, you know, I've got a degree doing computer stuff. They need to see that you're able to work in a team with people, that you like fit in well, that, you know, you're a sociable person. You know, there's no good you being really good with computers, but then if a player comes to you with a request, you can't speak to them. You know, you need to be able to have a mix of all of these skills put together. And I would say, like I said before, the volunteering route gives you an opportunity to definitely network with people. And like I said, the top tip that I would give is volunteer, but when you're at those events, network with people and just have fun, dude. Like, everyone's there because they love games, and don't be shy or scared to speak to people like I was. Like, that's my biggest regret. I was so shy and I was so scared that I didn't speak to as many people as I wish I had. So I'm trying to turn that around now, and I do speak to a lot more people with my streaming and stuff like that. So yeah, don't be afraid to speak to people and network, and, you know, let people know who you are.
I think especially in the journalism sector, a lot of people sort of frown upon not being paid for your work. But I came from a football background, and I did tons of football writing for free before like moving on to the next step. I think there's a difference between like people taking advantage of you and you getting experience.
Yeah.
So like if you feel like you're being taken advantage of, then don't do something for free. But obviously, if you're like, oh, I just want to try everything, I want to just gain experience, then I think it's definitely more valuable, like you said, to volunteer than to turn opportunities down just because you're not getting paid. But there's definitely a balance. John asked like a million troll questions, but I'm gonna whittle down the nice ones that he said.
Of course it was, John. Of course it was.
Yeah, but I do
John
like. Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
I do like the comment that he put, haha, bro, she gets so triggered when telling this story about when you shared that experience when someone asked you to go get a tournament admin. I think he meant that story.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he asked, I'm sure you can answer some of these questions he asked later, but I will ask you some of the good ones he asked. His first question is, now you are a streamer, what is your dream organization to make content for? That's a great question. Yeah.
Ooh. He's not even asked me that question IRL, so I'm like, whoa. Damn. I feel
maybe like a few, maybe not just like one, like if you have more than one in mind.
I think 100 Thieves are very clever when it comes to, you know, everything from their branding, their apparel, their content. I feel like 100 Thieves are a pretty good org. I feel like there are so many good orgs out there, though, that it's like, obviously you've got like the Liquids, the Fnatic, C9. Damn, dude, I don't know. Any org at this point, looking for org.
Yeah, this is your free agent post. Yeah, anyone? Okay, right. Give me three. Like three that it'd be top of your list.
100 Thieves.
Great choice.
Liquid.
Yeah.
Unreal facilities, by the way. Oh my god.
Yeah, their office looks amazing.
Yeah. Maybe Cloud9.
You're living in the wrong continent.
I know.
You need to go to NA.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, Europe ain't cutting it. To be fair, in Europe, I really like G2, so I'm a G2 fangirl.
Yeah. G2's good too.
I'd be quite happy with G2. And his next question is, what is something you would love to achieve or do to push you outside of your comfort zone within the industry that you have not achieved yet?
To be up on stage at like a bigger event, like I'm talking like a DreamHack or ECS or something like that, and stage host. I feel like that is like, when I was stage hosting at Epicland, it was like, I was in shock. I was like, oh my god, all these people staring at me. Oh my god, I'm in front of the camera. I went from being an admin that was like in a booth with players, like working behind the scenes and stuff, and like if the camera, like I was paranoid about if the camera could see me, if people could see me and stuff like that. I went from being like that to being like, hell yeah, get me in front of the camera, I want to host. So I would say being on a stage with like a big crowd and hosting and interviewing in front of a big crowd like that, I feel like that's maybe the last little hurdle that I've got to overcome to be like, you know what, I can be confident and people aren't so scary after all.
Well, hopefully when all of this COVID stuff is over, you can do that. This is a really weird thing for me to do midstream, but the sun is going to blind me in a second. I'm sure you guys can see it moving over. So I'm gonna just scooch. So hopefully this isn't super weird. You guys are gonna have a slightly different background, but I'm just gonna keep scooching as the sun moves, but hopefully hopefully it's not gonna move too much. Yeah, so your next question is from Peach_Posh. They said, what change would you like to see to help empower women and other minorities in this community?
I would love to see tournament organizers and stuff be more accepting and like inclusive of women in esports and women in gaming. I know people are going to be saying stuff like, oh, but they already do, they host like female only tournaments and stuff like that, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I get that, and it's great that so many of these like TOs and companies will put a tweet out on International Women's Day, but to me all that really looks like is like, oh well, it's trending, so we kind of have to post about it, and if we don't, we look bad. I think having like, I don't know, have some sort of way to make sure that other women are encouraged to, you know, work in esports and like give them the opportunity to do so. I'm not saying like, you know, if someone's not qualified for the job, don't like, you know, give them a chance. If they're not qualified, they're not qualified. But like, I would say make a point of the fact that, you know, if you are a female, if you are interested in video games or tech stuff, you know, there is an opportunity for you to come and work with us. Don't feel like just because we put like a listing out looking for volunteers that's only limited to, you know, guys who know what they're doing, because I had no idea what I was doing with Rocket League, and you know, I eventually made my way to CSGO where I knew what I was doing. So, you know, there's always an opportunity to learn. So I feel like TOs and companies should definitely be encouraging that more. That's not me saying that, you know, I've experienced TOs making me feel any certain way or any differently. Like, that's not the case at all. I'm just saying that there are ways for women to feel more comfortable and more encouraged and welcomed, especially if they're stepping out of their comfort zones.
Yeah, I think it's almost ironic because I've just seen a comment in chat who said, empower women? Are you kidding me? They are literally employing women just because they are women. This world is crazy and everybody wants to just be a victim. You see, that is part of the problem.
Yeah, it is.
that attitude is the issue. I think, yes, I think there are instances where there is positive discrimination, which is when someone is employed for the sake of that. And I feel like there are times where I've been offered opportunities where I feel like maybe it's almost like tokenism. And I'm not completely comfortable with that, but that is not the same thing as, you know, doing things to empower women in this space. I think you'd be blind to think that women aren't the ones that are being faced with the biggest challenges and are sort of struggling in this space. All you have to do is look at a talent lineup, go to, you know, the best and the biggest esports tournament in the world and look at what the hosts, the casters, like you said, the admins, the producers, the players, like, take a look at what they look like and how they got there, sort of thing. And I don't think you'd be very shocked to see that it's not always that many women there. And there are plenty of women right now who are grinding, who are talented, who are more than capable of fulfilling one of those positions. But unfortunately, you know, because of sort of, you know, a lot of systematic things that's going on in esports and gaming, it's taken a long time to get them there. And I'm sure you'd agree, Jasmine, like you're from your experience, that you do see women work super hard, but they might not always get given the opportunity. And I'm not saying that companies and tournament organizers are sexist, but, you know, when you are entering an industry where all the people are in charge are men, older men sometimes, and a lot of the people, for me especially, like when I was growing up watching esports, and I also came with a sports background, so watching sports broadcasting and esports broadcasting, I never really saw anybody that looked like me. So you know, it's not always easy for people to try and get into this industry and try and work their way up and try and get those opportunities when you don't even have role models that look like you. I mean, it's getting a lot better now, and I think it is moving in the right direction, but like you said, it's not enough for someone to just tweet, oh yeah, happy International Women's Day, and they don't have a single woman on the payroll in their entire company or in their entire tournament or event. I mean, I respect your opinion, whoever that was in chat.
I mean, like I've had people say to me, like comment on my Instagram posts, or like when I've like won awards and stuff like that, they've said stuff like, oh, the only reason you've won is because you're a woman. Like stuff like that really bothers me. Like, whilst I understand that you might see it that way, with all due respect, you don't know how many years I've been working in the industry. You don't know the countless events I've worked. You don't know how many hours, nights of sleep I've lost because I've been staying up trying to get stuff ready for a tournament and prep and stuff like that. Like, I understand that it might look that way to you, but don't be so quick to assume that every woman in esports, or most women in esports, have only got to where they are because they're women. Because I can tell you, hand on heart, that is most definitely not the case. Like, I had to volunteer a lot of events to prove myself, to get the experience, to gain the knowledge. I've worked my ass off, and I'm not going to let anybody tell me that the only reason I've got the gigs that I have is because I'm a woman. Because if that was the case, I should have got it within the first week of me volunteering. Do you know what I mean? And I didn't.
I mean, if anything, is kind of the opposite, like in most cases. But no, you're completely right. I'm slightly triggered by that comment because, like, I see it so often. And I see it a lot, like people online being like, you don't have anything to complain about. Like, you shouldn't complain because you're only where you are because you're a woman. Like, you wouldn't be doing that if you're a man, you know. So we get that a lot.
We honestly do get that so much. Like, I've had people that were supposed to be friends say stuff like that to me as well. So when it becomes like stuff like that, when people are like, oh, you're only getting viewers because you're a girl on Twitch, I'm like, actually, I'm probably only getting viewers because I've built up my own community and like I'm welcoming people to come and play games with us and stuff like that. I think people are so quick to pull the, oh, it's just because you're a girl card. And in reality, like, if you probably put in as much work as we did, you would also be in the same boat as us. So
it's not really an argument. Like you said, if people are only getting things because they're women, then there'll be tons of women doing like tier 1 stuff, but unfortunately there isn't that many. Someone called This Is Not Herb said hi. I just wanted to pass that on because I thought that was quite nice. We just got a couple more questions before we round up the stream. This question is from Ginger Swag Tia, my bad. They said, when do you think it will be normal to see a woman with guys in tournaments? And do you think women can play on the same level with the guys? I'm assuming they mean like on a pro team, not like an admin side.
I knew that question would come up. I just knew it. Okay. This is something I'm very passionate about. I feel very strongly about. I'm not going to be like, I don't know. Okay. Female tournaments are great. Like, I think it's a good opportunity for, females to feel more comfortable in the gaming environment and stuff like that. The way I see it is like, it's this kind of the same as like female only gyms. Like, some females may feel weird being around men that are, I don't know, acting weird around them. And like, as an admin, I can tell you firsthand, there are some really weird people out there that will try and be really weird with you. And you're like, nah. It would be amazing, absolutely amazing to see like a mixed gender team, like to see guys and girls like both in a team together. I think it is most definitely possible. As of right now though, I feel like the one thing holding us back is the fact that because females are playing in female only tournaments, I feel like they should be putting themselves forward more to, play against the male teams as well. Because like, I'm not saying that females are not as good as males. I feel like we're very capable of being as good as males, but I feel like in order to it's kind of like you have to play against them. You have to play against the best in order to continue improving and stuff like that. And I feel like instead of sticking to female only tournaments and, just being the best amongst females, you need to be competing for like, you know, DreamHack qualifiers, play against the guys, like make it to like, you know, close qualifiers, stuff like that. You know what I mean? I feel like it is possible, but I think a lot more females should be striving to aim, you know, even higher than winning a female only tournament. After winning a female only tournament, you should be like, okay, there's nothing stopping us from trying to play against guys, be better than guys and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? I feel like mixed team, I'm so excited for when the day that we have a mixed team that yes, I'm so excited for that.
I think so, a top level one. I mean, there's really, like you said, there's nothing really stopping it except for the access, because like you could be the best female team, but if you're not getting access to some of those male players and being able to play against them or even with them, then, you know, you'll never being able to like sort of have that crossover. And I definitely think it's not a question of capability or talent. Like that's, I mean, plenty of players have proven that's not true, you know, like there's really nothing stopping sort of female and male players from playing together, except for the fact we're just not seeing it. I guess part of their question was, when do you think it will be normal for this to happen? I guess it'd be quite hard to predict like a year or whatever, but when would you like to see this happen? Over the next 12 months or maybe a bit longer?
I would like to see it within the next week, to be honest with you. But I mean, I've been working in esports for over 5 years now, and I have yet to see like mixed male and female teams. So speaking from the fact that I've been working in esports for over 5 years and it's not happened yet, I would say maybe within the next 2 or 3, I hope. But again, that's dependent on how open and willing male teams are to, you know, prac against female teams. I know for a fact like a bunch of male teams will be like, oh, we're not going to prac against this female team because they're bad, because they're not good enough, because it's not good enough competition for us. And I feel like, I don't know, it's kind of like a back and forth kind of deal, but hopefully it's soon, because I would love to see some girls kick butt.
Yeah, I mean, in Valorant, I hope it happens soon, because a team called Magical just won the Riot Ignition series and they were amazing. Like, honestly, I'd be very surprised if they're not one of the first ones to sort of break this barrier. And we've only got time left for one more question. And this is from Skoy. I'm really sorry if I mispronounced your name. Skoy, who says, do you think the UK can reach the levels of esports like other countries?
Are we talking like Sweden and stuff, I'm presuming?
Yeah, but I guess it's different in different titles. So like in League of Legends, you have like Korea and other countries like Denmark and places like that. CSGO, obviously, anywhere else in Europe. But the UK. So yeah, maybe like maybe the ones that you're familiar with. So let's go with CSGO, because like you're more of an expert on that game. So do you think, I guess, UK CS can reach the levels of esports in other countries?
If there's anybody from UK CS watching this, I'm so sorry. Please don't be mad at me. I think the one thing, like, we have some very talented players from UK CS. There is no doubt about that. I mean, you look at the current Valorant Liquid guys, like they're all amazing CSGO players, and they're amazing in Valorant now as well. I feel like it's not so much people's capability. You know, we have players that are good, we have players that can be better, yes, but I feel like the one thing holding back UK CS is this ego. I don't know where it comes from. I don't know why they have it.
Oh my god, that's iconic. Yeah.
But like, loads of players will agree with me. Loads of players will be like, yeah, there are loads of players that will have an ego. You know, people will be giving it on, you know, in Twitch chat, on Twitter, like at LAN events for no real reason. There's kind of this, everyone kind of just wants to tear each other down. And instead of being like that, people should be kind of, you know, congratulating teams for doing well, helping players get better, you know, prac against each other, point out where you're going wrong, watch demos, you know. I feel like there's not much of a community around UK CS, and it's quite sad, to be honest with you, especially when like I was hosting Epic LAN and I got to speak to the StarCraft players, and oh my god, so they were, my heart melted. I was like, everyone is so nice to each other. After a game, they're like, they go for food with each other, they go and have a drink with each other, and it's just like, at the end of the event, I'm pretty sure we had like, I think it was like 52, no, actually, it might be more, 52 or something StarCraft players, right? At the end of the event, every single one of them stayed behind because they wanted to take a group photo together.
You never see that in
Like,
UKCS.
you
My
would
God.
never see that in UKCS. Like, you have people, like, as soon as they've been grouped in UKCS, they pack up their stuff and they leave. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like, I don't know. I feel like being in the scene for so long has made me feel like it's not possible. But then again, nothing's impossible. So I feel like to the newer generation of UKCS players, ditch the ego. Like, okay, yeah, you can get salaried by a team or whatever, but you know, be humble, like help the new and upcoming players. Don't just give it to each other every time you get the chance to. Do you know what I mean? Like, UKCS is struggling. Like, from an orgs perspective, if you're looking at UKCS, you just know that it's an absolute state right now. Like, a lot of players forget that companies will look at things like professionalism as well as stats. You know what I mean? It's no good you having, like, you know, unreal stats in a game, but then they see your social media page and it's literally just you being a horrible person and just giving it every opportunity you can.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of transitioned over to Valorant. So UK Valorant is going to be very interesting
I hope not.
in the months to come. But yeah, I think what you just said is great advice for anyone who's aspiring to become a player in any esports titles in the UK. I kind of want to get into UK StarCraft now from what you said, but
oh my
yeah,
God, yes.
yeah, they seem very nice. Unfortunately, that is all the time we have left with you, Jasmine. But before you go, I just want to say to touch and glow. Sorry, excuse me. Touch and glow in the chat, who's having like a whale of a time debating some of the issues that you and I have spoken about. So if you want to speak to us more about these, Touch and Glow, like feel free to get in touch on Twitter. Like I'm happy to open a dialogue because I think he's on a very, very different side of the issues that we spoke about regarding like gender discrimination in esports, which I'm very passionate about. Yeah.
I love debates. Let's have a
We
chat.
will debate you if you really are interested in carrying this on. But anyway, thank you so much for your time, Jasmine. It's been amazing to chat to you, and hopefully we'll get to follow your career a bit more when COVID is all over and you can come back and we can, you know, talk to you about what it was like to be a stage host at a major. Who knows?
Oh, fingers crossed. Thank you guys for having me, and thank you to everybody in Twitch chat for the questions and the support, and shout out to everybody on Discord for all of your support. You guys have been amazing. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And also for me as well, thanks for everyone in chat for submitting your questions. And thanks for Dom for producing today and Morgan for organizing everything. For the rest of you, don't forget to give us a follow here on Twitch and also on Twitter. And if you're interested in more career advice and just generally how to get into esports, you can check out both Hitmarker and the career advice section on our website. And I will actually be back here on Friday and I'll be doing a cooking stream, round 2 of Sacco's Tacos with Dom Sacco. So don't forget to come back at 4 p.m. on Friday and to watch that. But anyway, that's all from me. Thank you again, Jasmine, for joining me, and have a lovely evening, everyone.
Sweet.
We good?